Good morning and welcome to Frontiers of Knowledge segment of Dr. Lamba's Awakening. Are human ingenuity, inventiveness, and capability to utilize effectively in an optimum manner is unlimited. Could you ever have imagined that the solar panels can be made from the wood waste, food waste, which is often a cause of pollution? And just imagine, if you can, I can't, that you can produce energy with the help of these panels without using sunlight. Amazing. And then how the old farming traditions are revived and modernized, adapted to the modern use, thereby removing the scourge of hunger. Coming to the solar panels, every one of us knows that they are the cornerstone of clean energy production. Clean energy revolution without using solar power is not possible at all. And that's a problem because they are very expensive. But then, apart from being expensive, they suffer from a great flaw. When the clouds roll in, the productivity of the solar panels nosedives. Now, a new type of solar panel has been developed by an electrical engineering student, not a fully qualified third year student at Mapua University. And that harvests the unseen ultraviolet light from the sun that makes it through even during dense cloud coverage. This young man, Carvey Magu, he won 2020 James Dyson Sustainability Award for his creation. And he hopes that it will be used one day for the windows and the walls of the large buildings, turning them into a constant source of energy day and night, cloudy or sunshine. These windows and the walls, you can cover them with the walls even, they'll penetrate the walls and come in. And that would be a continuous source of energy at all, and a clean energy and a renewable energy. There's no fear that the use of the solar panels in any way reduces the effectiveness. Now, the concept is called AURUS. AURUS stands for Aurora Renewable Energy and Ultraviolet Sequestration Separation. This uses luminous particles from fruits and vegetable waste. So imagine what is waste, what is a pollutant, is combined, and then this absorbs the UV light and converts into visible light. A solar film then converts the visible light into energy. As a matter of fact, he is very, very clear. He says similar to the air we breathe in. We breathe in oxygen and we inhale carbon dioxide outside. So it takes this panel will take in ultraviolet light, and after some time it will stand out as a visible light. Now the material, as I said, is a waste, agriculture crops, and the prototype is a single 3 feet by 2 feet lime green tinted panel. Now this can be installed in the window of his apartment. He has done that. And the demonstration for the James Dyson Award, he showed that this test panel could generate enough electricity to charge his phones and light his room. It can be scaled up, and these panels can enable the whole building to be run entirely on their captive use. You don't have to go outside to make them. It's a new concept, and the creator that properly calls it He says, I'm democratizing renewable energy. A small house will have less panels, needs less energy. A large house, a multi-story building, the whole wall and windows covered. So whatever the need is and whatever the requirement is, it will be produced in-house. And the flexibility of the material. The resin from the food and the fruit waste can be applied to fabrics for clothing. And that will allow designers to use the panels in a variety of different innovative designs. As a matter of fact, it briefly said that this fabric can cover the top of the car, the top of the boot, the top of the front, and the windows and the sidings. And it's adaptable since it's a fabric. So you don't have the bending part, everything, and it adjusts according to the shape and size. So it will help people to understand and adopt renewable energy solutions. And he says this democratization of renewable energy will bring it closer physically to the people and also psychologically closer. So people will not think as something superimposed, they'll think it as a part of their everyday existence. It would give them access to it, that they are closer to it, and they don't have to be large institutions to have the capability to harvest solar energy with their rooftops. This is revolutionary. The next step for this is amazing. He wants to develop his first building installation at RS at a small medical clinic. This is, as I told you, the student is in Philippine mainland and there's an island near mainland Philippines. This is called Imolia. And there's a small clinic there. So he says, I'm going to, that is his village. So he says, I'm going to install that in that clinic because that small island is left without power during storms. This amazing feat of the young student is path-breaking and it deserves all credit. Then, there's an ancient practice of mixing rice and fish farming. They say, well, rice you need lot of water and fish you need water. You can't think of fish without water, aquaculture. So nobody has done both together. As a matter of fact, in the ancient time, it was a practice that you would breed fish in the rice fields. But slowly and steadily, good traditions fade away. In China, for 4 years, they have been trying to do it. They have been trying to penetrate beneath the surface of the rice paddies in China. And they have seen that if they combine aquaculture with rice growth, it will not only increase the rice production and it would also give them fish. So rice and fish. And then you have to apply less fertilizer because the fish, when they die or when they decay, would automatically be providing much needed fertilizer. Now inviting fish, and not only fish, turtles, crabs, into rice paddies would reduce, as I said, the need of fertilizers. No pesticides will be required, and the yield of the rice would be heavy. Now this discovery can be a major boom because half of the world now regularly consumes rice. But then what's happening? People who grow rice use it once crop. So it's a monocrop fields, and that requires heavy application of fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides to increase the yield and deliver and meet the global demand. So the researchers on the e-life have explained that they spent 4 years. They started studying the rice paddies in China, and the purpose was to study the natural habits of fish, turtles, crabs, and other aquatic animals. So then they set up the experiments in which they carefully compared plots of rice that contained these animals with those rice fields containing none of these animals. And the results were startling. In rice fields where tilapia, crab, soft-shelled turtles were being bred along with the rice growth, the yield of the rice was 12% higher than the yield of the rice in those fields where there were no animals being cultivated. The researchers attribute this increased yield to the animals' natural behavior. They de-weed, remove the weed themselves. You don't have to use the weeders. And they deposit nutrient-rich waste that happen to deliver the big sustainability benefits. So you get more food in rice, more food in the shape of a fish, and no pesticides, no chemical fertilizers. For instance, where there were animals, rice fields were noticeably less troubled by weeds than in the monocrop because they provide a rich source of food to the turtles, crab, and fish. So you don't have to take extra benefit, extra effort to feed the fish. The weed which grows naturally would be consumed by the crab and the fish and the turtles. But in the fields containing animals were supplied with feed to sustain them. And despite this, the researchers have discovered that up to 50% of the diet in these animals was supplied by the weeds. 50%, imagine it. So both benefits, you supply less food to the animals and you have no weeds. So because this food was weed, algae and other naturally available organic material. So it was very convenient appetite for the agriculture pests. They were not pests, they are in fact improving the yield. In the meantime, what's happening is that this naturally hovering service tilapia turtles by default reduce the need of the pesticides. Now there was another thing, that these fields were much more nitrogen efficient. The biggest problem with the rice field is that you have to apply nitrogen fertilizer, but these are more nitrogen efficient and at quicker rate of organic matter decomposition than the monoculture plots. The researchers think that enhancing nutrient cycle would take us back to those weeds. Now, weeds growing between the rice plants take up the nitrogen from the soil. But when the aquatic animals eat these plants, they absorb this compound and convert it back into ammonia. Turning it, and then that ammonia is used by the rice plants to grow and give a better yield. So this is a cause and effect. In fact, the study shows that the aquatic animals convert 80% of the nitrogen they consume into ammonia. And when they excrete it, throw it out as a waste, it's a rich source of natural fertilizer for the rice plants and support the yield. And these aquatic animals also hasten the decomposition of organic material because they eat, consume, and break down the material more swiftly. So increase the availability of nutrients. And then a bonus that The field stocked with these natural nutrient providers, the need of the chemical fertilizers is reduced. So what's the end result? Farming becomes sustainable, doesn't necessarily cause trade-offs in profit and yield, and there is a growing evidence that by saving on inputs, boosting yields, the profitability of the farmers would go up. Now this is ideal for India, countries like India, where you have a food shortage and you are rice growing. And rice growing is practically all over India, right from Punjab and Dehradun, Basmati to the south. And the ideal rice, of course, is in Kerala. Now, Chinese rice farmers have known it for ages, but they stopped using it. It was a very common practice in old China to farm fish along with the rice to boost the yield and increase the diversity of food available for eating and selling. But slowly and steadily, as I said, all good habits go. So the monoculture started being. But now they are coming back to that. So the results enhance our understanding. Another thing, benefit, that we understand that biodiversity is extremely important even in the agriculture ecosystem. And growing crops along with animals has a number of effects. This is really, really, along with the solar power, these two new developments are really useful to the mankind. And by no stretch of imagination can we think of a negative aspect as far as these two innovative practices are concerned. I would say hats off to the human ingenuity, hats off to our sense of curiosity that makes us wonder, and then that wonder is translated into doable things. Thank you.